looking good. Nice, you've got a mortar equipped.
Yeah, I got it on the weekend. You lead the way, I'll follow.
Because of a mostly forgettable story, bland dialogue, uninteresting characters, a boring hub area, and a slew of technical issues, not to mention the lack of content after hitting level 30, what Anthem boils down to is essentially an at times fun, albeit forgettable looter-shooter.
Anthem has got to be one of the biggest disappointments in modern gaming history. I mean, this title had so much potential. It was graphically amazing. It was supposed to be sort of like an online Destiny-esque Iron Man simulator. I mean, it seemed like it could be really, really cool. But the problem is EA launched it without really having any content at all and having no idea what the point of the game was. It was just kind of like a shell to showcase really cool graphics, and that's about it.
Politics begets product. This is something that I emphasize in my professional career when it comes to the design and management of any experience or product that is in service of a customer, player, or user's benefit. And we see this most emphasized in the video game industry. EA, Electronic Arts, which has created a wonderful reputation for itself, was notorious for mismanaging BioWare. And cash shop aside, the tragedy of Mass Effect Andromeda and later Anthem is due to their enforcement of their vision to use Battlefield's Frostbite engine, which is not designed for the type of RPGs which BioWare is known for, and the difficulty of them using the Frostbite engine for BioWare storytelling created a number of issues and a number of complex situations that made it frustrating for them to achieve their very rigid delivery dates for their games. Which is why typically the best solution for game releases is when it's ready, or a surprise that it's going to be released, rather than declaring a specific date for delivery. And when you are affected by higher-ups politics and you're basically shoved into a corner or a wall, you're not going to be able to provide the most cohesive or the best experience for your customer or players or users. And so when it came to Anthem's development, they ended up getting whatever was left over from the development of Dragon Age Inquisition, Mass Effect Andromeda, and they were playing catch up to get Anthem out the door. And so, as you've heard in the earlier audio clips, Anthem ended up fairly hollow. People enjoyed the gameplay, but there really wasn't much else besides a specific biome in which to do activities. And 2 years ago, I believe, Anthem no longer is receiving any support from BioWare because they're now focusing on the next iterations of Mass Effect and Dragon Age. And here, I'll go ahead and show you some Andromeda clips because I'm going to show you really some of the major issues of Mass Effect Andromeda that I also experienced when it first came out. And you can imagine that if people were rushing and scrambling to get Mass Effect Andromeda out the door and then rushed over to support Anthem, you can see how politics begets product. And the poor experience that you are seeing here is stuff that you will see in even earlier BioWare games. So here we are with
So be it.
The cycle continues.
To be fair to Mass Effect 3, it wasn't as bad as Mass Effect Andromeda, but there have been staff that reportedly mentioned that there were troubles in the creation development of the game. And the way it panned out, despite protests from the staff, well, it ended up being deployed the way it was, and many people didn't enjoy it. They didn't enjoy how the ending experience was just, color palette swaps. There was no real impact with what you do and what ended up happening. And so this is something that we need to take very great care of when it comes to the user experience, my field, where not only do we do research and concepting of an idea, but we also look at the validation of how certain things work and ultimately what is the closing impact. So we end up collaborating with developers, managers, in the capacity of, let's say, for instance, video gaming. You would end up ideally working with the writers, working with the producers, the directors, to ensure that what you're experiencing as a player is cohesive. And when things are not cohesive, if things are being pushed just to make a deadline, when there is not the level of care given to your experience as a gamer, then you have every right to complain. Because there are certain games that shown that there are standards that we could achieve if we just took a chance to take better care of the people that we're trying to service with our storytelling and games.